let's make our platinum and below tier list. And these are basically the changes. So Sylas passive got nerfed. The Talia, the clear is really good now. I just tried it. It deals bonus magic damage, bonus damage on monsters per rock, 10 per rock extra. A little bit less damage, but it's whatever, to be honest. It doesn't matter. And even your E is clearing a bit faster, 15% extra. As for Volibear, they just nerfed the AP ratio, so it's a bit worse. But honestly, it does not matter that much because Volibear doesn't build that much AP anyway after Cosmic Drive, so this nerf doesn't matter. Volibear is still very strong. And as for, well, Amumu, this is mostly support. For jungle, it doesn't matter. Qiyana got a bit nerfed as well. 2 base AD, armor growth a bit lower. Qiyana still very strong champion in high elos. Low elo, not that good. And as for Sylas, the bonus damage to monsters is reduced as well. So let's make a tier list based off what has been changed. And the item got changed. This is basically the Fated Ashes of tanks. This is really, really good, by the way. This is really good, insane buff. This will change the meta, by the way, just so you guys know. And, well, Sunfire Cape, extra damage. Okay, let's start with S tiers. Volibear. You might be wondering, why Volibear? Guys, I'm telling you, if you want to cheat elo, this is probably the best champion you can play in S to climb. That's as well, like, elo proof. So I would recommend this champion first, no matter what, if you're gonna play in the lower elos. As for the second one, I think Nocturne is pretty consistent. Left to right will matter, but I'm just gonna put Nocturne S tier. I think Platinum and below, these champions are solid. As for next champion, Amumu is pretty solid as well. However, remember, same for Nocturne and Amumu. If you have Nocturne, you don't want to play Nocturne with a Z mid lane. You want to play Nocturne with an Orianna mid lane, Victor, Syndra, just any mage. Because most assassins don't have setup, so if you have a control mage on mid lane that scales, that is fine laning, that way you can actually be able to have good scaling as well in fights, okay? As for Amumu, ideally you want to play Amumu with AD champions on mid lane, and you don't want to have too much mercs. If the enemy team has a lot of mercs, it's not good. So let's say you have a mid lane like Lissandra, a support like Leona, don't pick Amumu, not that good. You lose a lot of value. So depending on your team composition a bit, you need to understand what to pick, okay? What comes next after the S tier? Okay, there's Trundle as well. So I think Trundle could be put maybe left, right matters, right? Even in low elo, I would say it's team comp dependent. I would say that these 3 champions, which is Volibear, Nocturne, and Trundle, are more pickable. Amumu is pickable in right drops, I think, very good. But of course, Amumu is ult based. You have ultimate, you fight. No ultimate, you don't fight, okay? For the next champion, I think that Briar, okay, depends, okay? If you're like an iron, bronze, silver, gold, I think Briar is pretty solid. But in my opinion, it's like a crutch. Which means that, yeah, you can get elo, but you don't really learn the game that well. I personally think if you're in lower elo and you just want to get gold, sure, go play Briar. If you want to go below Platinum or past Emerald to Diamond, I would not recommend you to play Briar. I would recommend any of the other 4 champions. So these are my S tiers in Platinum below, depending on what elo you are. I'm not sure if I'm missing any other champion, but I think these are most of the champions. You could argue Mundo is good as well. I would put it even higher than Briar. You simply farm. You get your item power spikes, you're always useful. However, it's a bit of an NPC champion. Because people pick enchanters on support, Mundo especially is good. However, if let's say your support has like a Nautilus, you don't have to pick Mundo. Then you can play, you know, champions like Volibear, Trundle will fit better. So depending on the draft. There's definitely still this little beast, Warwick. Warwick, okay, same thing as Briar. In iron, bronze, silver, gold. Sure, I consider these champs S tier, but as you get to higher elos, I would not recommend these 2 champions. I would say this was number 1. I would say Nocturne could be, I mean, it's honestly in this order low-key. 5. It goes like this, okay? Okay, that's it about for the S tier, okay? Let's go to A+ tier. So in A+ tier is gonna be any bruiser that is just like solid at fighting. So when I say any bruiser, Wukong, is very solid. Just any simple champions that are a bit beefy are very solid. Xin Zhao, very solid. As for what else is a bit bruiser-ish, Udyr, very solid. But do you notice? These are the champions that are basically a bit beefy, and they basically always will be useful. So even if you're out of position, it's completely Gucci, you know? So that's why I put this A+. It's always situational, but yeah. As for what else there, I think Diana as well is like A+. Just any champ that can go a bit beefy. With Diana, try to go Liandry build. Liandry Riftmaker in lower elos is better than Neshertooth due to the mistakes you might potentially make. And honestly, believe it or not, guys, Mordekaiser is actually A+ as well, because it beats most of the champs 1v1. It's unironically very good against most of these champions. And since in lower elos it's mostly about brawling and fighting, I think these champions are always very solid, basically. Honestly, as for that, I think... Okay, you could argue Jarvan being A+, but I think it's maybe even A tier, because it requires your util your EQ. Your 1v1 isn't that strong. That's why I put it A tier. I tried looking for any other A+ champion, but I don't see... Oh, Shyvana. I think Shyvana is actually A+. It can be a bit beefy. If you power farm, it's going to be solid. It's a very solid champion as well. As for one more champion, maybe I'll put... Actually, I'm thinking I'm a must-see A+ or A, but where would I put this champion? A+ or A? It's very close, right? It's like somewhere in between, but I would personally put it in low elo. I think I'll put it A tier personally, so I'm gonna wait. Okay, anyway, I think that's all for the A+. I checked every single other champion. I don't think there's any other champ where I'm like, okay, that's a solid A+. So I think that's about it for A+, basically. I think Pantheon maybe. I think Pantheon is solid as well. Okay, anyway. Now let's go to the A tiers. But yeah, as well, just so you guys know, these two champions, for lower elo, very low elo, it's like S+ tier. But if it's like Platinum-ish, it's like A tier or something. Just to clarify, okay? We can go to A tier. And as for A tier, what would I put A tier? Definitely Jarvan. Jarvan's very solid because it's like a bruiser as well, but the criteria is basically this, okay? Wins 1v1. Always useful / beefy. And this one is / beefy as well. So these champions require a bit more skill, because you don't really straight up win 1v1, right? Most of these champions on the S and A+ tier are just really OP 1v1, or they're always useful. Besides Briar and Warwick, in my opinion. So that's how I usually see it a bit. As for Ekko, would I put Ekko as an A+ champion? I think Ekko actually is not that easy to play. I think I'll put it A. Poppy A, and why is Ekko A? It doesn't win 1v1, it requires a bit more skill. Poppy can't really hard 1v9. Is not that brain dead to carry games. You actually need to lend your stun. In some drafts, it can be very good, but situational. And yeah, Nunu. Well, Nunu basically is A as well. Why A? It does not really win 1v1, but it has very good ganks. It's a bit tanky. But I think in team fights, these champions aren't as OP. So most of the bruiser champions as well are good at team fights. All of the A+ are usually good at team fight as well. And as for the next champion, that's like in the A tier. I'll put Jax up there as well. Why do I put Jax on A tier? The clear's a bit slow, and it's quite easy to get kited. And it's solid 1v1, but in small skirmishes, it's not like super OP, you know? So considering that the clear is slow, and considering there's a lot of Fiesta, I think other champs might be a bit more useful. As for the next champion that I would put there, I'll probably put Olaf there as well. Olaf is just a very strong bruiser. It's very solid. It does fall off a bit. It requires a bit more skill, right? So that's why I put it A tier. It's not as brain dead. Yes, it's decent 1v1, but it doesn't really have that much escape tools or any things to run away, which why I would put it on A tier. So, yep. As for the next champion, okay, Viego's A tier as well. The longer you play League of Legends, the better it is. Why is that? Because then you understand more champions. I would personally not recommend Viego if you're in lower elo, because most of the times people are picking champs like Nami, Janna. It's just not as nice to play Viego with an enchanter support, which is why bruisers are usually always solid in lower elos, just so you know. So it becomes easier to play. And okay, I would put Vi there as well. The thing, honestly, Vi is maybe B tier. Like Vi, I feel like, I I don't know what Riot Games did with him, but we can even check the win rate. Whew. Okay. Oh yeah, Vi is like... Usually Vi in the past, it used to be A tier. But nowadays... Like, okay, my mind cannot put him in C tier, okay? But I'll put him B. But let's finish the A tier list, okay? I think the... Okay, Kayn is A tier. Is very solid. Always pretty decent. In lower elos, I would say. And as for most of these champions here, oh, Mossy. Mossy definitely A tier. It could be A or A+, honestly, depending on if you're an OTP. If you're an OTP, A+. If you're just a general Mossy enjoyer, it's A tier. I think in lower elo, the way Zyra functions right now, it can be A tier. Because if you go Liandry Shadowflame, it's actually pretty decent, I think. So I don't know what Zyra's win rate is, but I feel like it should be decent at least. It's like 50%. This is the old patch. So I think that champ could be pretty decent. It's one of the few mages that I think is decent. That I put A tier. And Rek Sai as well as A tier. This champ is just very solid, right? Because it's like a bruiser-ish. It has easy ganks. And it's not too difficult to play. Which is why I put this champion A tier. And then... well, besides that, honestly, I don't know where I should put Rammus exactly. Let's search real Rammus up. I think it's like A or B tier. The win rate's pretty decent. It's rated B tier on Lolytics, but I personally think that on Rammus, if you just farm, you're actually quite decent as a champion. So let's put it actually A tier. I think champ is solid overall, but if you play the champion, please just full clear. Get a decent base and then go for a gank after. Don't look for level 3 gank. There's no need. You're usually pretty Gucci. And... yeah, I mean, honestly, okay, Fiddlesticks as well is actually A tier as well. Even though it's low elo, I think Fiddlesticks is A tier. Why is that? Because Fiddlesticks, people don't really know how to play against him and how to itemize. So usually what happens is that people just get feared and they get fucked, you know? And people are not really that good at punishing. So I would put Fiddlesticks on A tier, mostly. And besides that, okay, I think Naafiri is A tier as well. You can build in a bruiser way-ish. So it's not too bad. I know in lower elos, usually the win rate of Naafiri is around 50%. It's not that insane. It's very close to 50 usually. But I personally do think if you know how to play a little bit slow, you're Gucci. If you're in like Iron or something, I would not recommend you to play this champion. But if you're Platinum Gold, I think it's pretty solid, I would say. It's a pretty decent champion. And as for the rest... well, the rest is like a low-key skill champions, I would say. Yeah, there's a lot of skill champs here. I think Kha Zix is probably, I feel like B tier. Let me just figure out where Kha Zix is, but like personally, I think Kha Zix is like a fine champion. It's not too bad, but I'm not sure if I would put it A tier. I think I'd rather put B tier because I think the other champs are just much easier. But honestly, I think that's what I would have everything for A tier. The rest, I would probably put them below. Nautilus, I think Nautilus personally B tier and lower elos. I mean, Nautilus is a shit champ. I mean, the win rate as well is pretty bad. Because this champ is like, the clear is fine, but it doesn't actually do that much. It doesn't even have much carry potential. I think this champ's like not it, you know? But okay, as for the rest. Qiyana. I think this is what I would put on A tier, by the way. I think the rest will probably go into B tier. Qiyana, for sure B tier in low elos. Ivern, B tier. Why is Ivern B tier? I think low elo, people can't space properly and don't know how to kite a bit. So I would say that it's B tier. Elise B tier. Why would I put Elise B tier? I think this champion is like not bad. However, in low elo, you're gonna be less useful than most champions. So I'm not even wondering what Elise win rate is, but I don't even think it's crazy high. Yeah, it's like literally B, just below 50. Because the champion, if you're an OTP, it's not bad, but that's with every single champion, right? For the general people, I would say it's B tier. Rengar in low elo, I'll be honest. If you study maybe net or watch my Rengar videos, sure, but generally speaking, guys, don't touch this champion. Rengar is like an OTP champion, and if you like can't play him, it's like the most dogshit champ ever, because if you fall behind, you die, you have to team fight against any champion that is on this tier list. It's so doomed. It's not playable. Kindred, sorry bro, but you're going to B tier, I think. So yeah, Kindred B tier. Why B tier? The champ is solid. I think if you play Kindred, you should look to go Kraken Trinity Force. If you go Kraken Trinity Force, I think the champ's actually alright in low elo, but don't go crit, because you have less ability haste, which means less ultimates, which is not as good. Karthus, B tier. Why B tier? Karthus is really strong if you know how to use tempo. Low elo doesn't. Karthus is really strong if you can land skill shots. Questionable. So that's why I put Karthus B tier. So I'm wondering what the win rate of Karthus, but it should be quite low. Yeah, it's quite low. And because if you're out of position, you're dead. you're not really making the fullest use of the champion. Like, I feel like I would do Kha Zix a bit dirty on B tier, considering that it has no skill shots. And people get caught off guard. So I'll put it A tier. I feel like I would do the dirty, honestly. C tier, Nidalee. I don't even know the Nidalee win rate, I'll be honest, but it's probably 46 or something. Bro, it's 46.79. This champ, just don't touch it if you're in lower elo. Focus on fundamentals, focus on moving your camera, whatever it is, just don't play Nidalee. Vi, B tier, for obvious reasons. I think, I don't know what happened to this champ, but they just fucked her. I haven't seen this one in 10 years. As for Talia, I think Talia next patch, the clear is better. But that doesn't make it a better champ in low elo. It's still gonna be like B tier in my opinion. Simply because you're squishy. If you're out of position, you just die. And it requires you to have a melee support. In low elo, I'll show you something, okay? Let's check in low elo the supports the most played. Nami, Janna, Sona, Zyra, Thresh, Karma, Taric, Milio. Where the fuck is my Nautilus and Rel? And like, look, how can you play Talia when you have like Talia, Nami, Janna, Sona combo? It's not playable. That's why I personally think if you play Talia, you should look to have like a champ that makes up for weaknesses. So that means if you have a Nami, Janna, whatever, you have a champion that can be frontline like Volibear. That way, if you have an enchanter, you have a different champion and you can actually play the game. So that's why I put it B tier. I would even argue C tier maybe. Nautilus is the 35th like most played champion, no? That's crazy. So that's why you don't want to actually pick Talia. So let's combine this and let's take a look at Talia win rate now, okay? Let's search Talia up. It's 46% win rate. So maybe I'm even being too... Oh, actually, oh, I put it on C tier. I'm the f***ing goat. But yeah, I'm putting it on C tier actually. That's why I would recommend you to not pick a champion that requires you to have setup. That's up a C tier. Zac B tier. You might be wondering, why am I putting Zac B tier? You have to land your Q and you have to land your E. If you don't land those abilities, yeah, it's not a champion. So I think it's like, what, 48 win rate, I think. Zac, like 49. So yeah, not recommended. Anyway, as for next thing, Lilia. Lilia is B tier. Why is Lilia B tier? It can be a bit tanky. Even if you get caught, you're not really getting caught. So I feel like Lilia winner is maybe 50, maybe 50, 49. I'm actually curious. Okay, 50, yeah, 50. That makes sense. So I would still put her B tier. It's still a pretty decent champion, regardless. Bel Veth, B tier. Why B tier? It's a difficult champion to execute. And information getting, which is counting numbers, is something that people struggle with in lower elos. And if you play a champ like Bel Veth that doesn't have a brain that engage, it's difficult to play. It does have a dash, so that's why it's not C tier. But it's very close to being C tier, but it's B tier. As for Lee Sin, oof. Okay, Lee Sin, C tier, guys. Why C tier? Same thing. Imagine having a Lee Sin Janna combo, a Lee Sin Nami combo. You won't have Lee Sin with a Nautilus, Leona, some setup. So make sure to play Lee Sin if you have hands. I don't want to be that guy, but most people know elo, including me, when I was a silver, I had no arms. So I don't even want to know the win rate, but it's probably atrocious. 48.77. Not too bad, but I will still put a C tier. Gwen is B tier. Why is Gwen B tier? I think this champ's pretty shit in low elo, simply because you don't have much agency, especially in the early game. You have no crowd control, you need to scale, and the game might be over before it starts. So yeah, you need good jungle tracking and good mechanics, then you can win. But let's be real. In low elo, I think if you play Gwen, it's shit. So, okay, it says 47 win rate is kind of low, but I'll still keep B tier. I don't think it's C. It just sucks a bit. Anyway, Gragas, B tier. Why B tier? This is an okay champion, but it doesn't win 1v1. You need actually your skill shots. You can do some trick shots. Most people cannot do so. Maybe even C tier, honestly. I'll be honest. Also, I'll put it in C tier. I'm wondering what Gragas win rate is. I think very low. It's B tier, but I'll even put a C tier. Why is that? Because I think that it requires you to have a good draft, which means that you want to have like an AD mid lane, and you need to play Gragas Bell, but I would not recommend to play this champion at all. Nasus, I'll be very honest, I have no clue. I have actually no clue. My imagination, when I think of Nasus, is probably B tier. It's probably around 48 to 49% win rate. Why is that? Because it's a decent 1v1 champion, but it has shit ganks. So it's like a Gwen, but worse, I feel like. Actually, it's a bit better than Gwen. I'm actually curious, actually. I have no idea. Ooh. Win rate's decent at least, but I'll keep it there. B tier. Anyway, okay, Sylas, honestly, I'll put a C tier. You might be wondering, why am I putting Sylas C tier? Sorry if you love playing Sylas, but the clear got nerfed. This champ actually requires you to land your skill shots, which is Q and E. This champ doesn't scale like most champions. I mean, it does a bit, but I feel like it's a bit skilled. And especially because the clear got nerfed, I think it's even harder now. So I think the win rate should drop to even 48% or something. So that's why I put a C. I could argue B tier, but on a good draft, it can be B tier, but I'll put a B tier. I'll put a B tier. But I think after the nerfs, I don't know, to be honest. I'll be honest. Just B and C, in my opinion, just don't touch. Nautilus, I don't want to do Nautilus dirty, you know, but I play this champ a bit myself as well. I think this champ is like, it clears good, but it doesn't feel that useful. So I'll put a B tier because it's decent ganks and you can tilt people, but I don't think this champ is that great, to be honest. It has negative win rate as well. I'll just put a B tier. Like, on paper, it should be okay, but it feels like you're just an NPC, basically. Sejuani, I'll put a B tier. It's just the same like Nautilus. I would even say, why would you play Nautilus if you can play Sejuani? It's just better. It has more damage as well. I think Sejuani win rate is actually okay. It's not as bad. I mean, it's 1% high win rate. Evelyn. Ooh, Evelyn. I would say Evelyn is like B tier. Why B tier? It's not that great 1v1. You need to understand tempo and how to make picks. I feel like in lower elo, people are not good at that. Simply because people actually tend to just get caught, and it's very bad as assassin. It had a 50% win rate, but I'll put it on B tier. I would personally not recommend you play as champion. Talon B tier. Why is Talon B tier? Simply because, generally speaking, I think most assassins are difficult to pull off. You're not that useful in teamfights. You don't win 1v1. Most of these champs have negative win rate, usually. So that's why I wouldn't recommend to play these assassins. You can play simpler champions. Like, after Emerald, there's different champs, but yeah, this is the, you know, below Platinum tier list. Skarner, I have no idea what happened to Skarner, but probably B or C. I'll put a B tier. Actually, I think Skarner win is probably really bad, though. I don't know the win rate, but it's probably 47. 44! Oh my daisy. And the thing is, I'm traumatized by Skarner, you know? I am traumatized by Skarner. When it was super OP, I'm like, hell, man. But maybe I'll put a C tier. It's fine. Don't play the champion. Graves, yeah. Graves like a worse Kindred. Play against any of the champions, good luck playing. I'm actually wondering what Graves win rate is. It has to be like, oh, it's actually 49.37, but I would say don't play this champion. There's so many better champions you can play. Maokai B tier is an okay champion. It's just fine. Not much to say about it. Hecarim B tier as well. Why B tier? Because people think Hecarim is like a simple champion, but you're wrong. You're not that useful in teamfights without stacks, and if you miss your E in a gank, you're doomed. So you actually need to play quite well, which is why Hecarim usually has a negative win rate, especially in lower elos, because, yeah, people don't abuse tempo, people don't abuse the champion strength. B tier. Shaco, believe it or not, guys, Shaco is tilting the fuck out of you. It might feel like it's A+ or S, but in reality, I think it's B tier. Why do I think it's B tier? I think this champ is useless if you're not that good on the champion. If you're an OTP, sure, A tier easily, but after your first level 3 backstab, I think it's useless. I mean, it says C tier, but I'll just put a B tier. It's not that bad, okay? So I'll put a B tier. As for Brand, I think Brand's B tier as well. It's like a champ that's immobile. Yes, it's a bit tanky, but it's not that insane considering you have like Enchanter support. Like Brand, Janna, Nami running around the map. Yeah, I would say not so good. And that's... win rate wise is probably very bad, even worse than B, but I think it's B tier, okay? Let's take a look. Brand. Oh, that's a sexy win rate. I was surprised about that one. But yeah. Well, this is basically my tier list for Platinum and below. And just to summarize a bit, okay? These champs are... most of these champions are always useful. Win 1v1 / teamfight decent. Teamfight decent, it's mostly Mundo, Amumu, Trundle, Nocturne, Volibear. They're always solid to pick because people tend to fight you in lower elos. So it's just always good. These are as well always useful. This is the 1v1 and team fighting. You could argue maybe that Wukong, nah, it just depends, but yeah, same principles. But I feel like the S champs are just easier to execute, and you might wonder why. This champion can run into you, kill you. This champ can ult you, you just die. This champ beats the fuck out of you 1v1. This champion is team fight, enemy has no cleanse, easy win. This champ, you get 1 kill, become unkillable. This is the 1v1 Demon King, 1v1 Demon King. These champs are very good at something, you know? And these champions require a bit more skill. So it's not like as brain dead 1v1. And they don't skill as well as like A+ or S tier at something. So that's why, let's say Jarvan, Ekko, Poppy, Nunu, all of these champs, Viego, must here require a bit of skill. So it's a bit harder. And as for B tier, they either don't do anything early game or it requires too much skill to make it work. If you can't, it sucks. C tier is basically, you make one mistake, it's kind of doomed. That's how I see it. Or just very hard to play, you know? But that's basically my tier list for Platinum and below tier list. So I'll be making a high elo tier list now. But at the high elo tier list, I will just put on my Discord, okay? But yeah, that's it for my tier list, ladies and gentlemen.